Alrighty, today I'm going to be tying one of the best flies for Niabe out in the saltwater, starting with a Gamakatsu SC 15 1/0. We're going to use a small lead-eye presentation eye, and we're going to use the chartreuse and the white of the Steve Farrar Flash Blend, which is a great material, kind of slinky fiber and angel hair. And we're going to play with some Clear Cure Goo. So we're going to start, we got the hook in the vise. Going to start with some mono thread and just put a little on. We're going to tie the eyes in first. We got this just a little bit back right there. We're going to make a few wraps both ways around and then helicopter it and then finish it off. Really crank on it with that. Even though we're going to be epoxying it later or using the Clear Cure Goo, I still like to drop a little drop of Zap-A-Gap on there just to lock them in. And then the first material we're going to tie in is the Steve Farrar Blend white. So we're tying in the belly now. And you just slide out some, and I like to get it in a nice taper at the end, pull out any stragglers, do my best with all the angel hair and everything, and then I measure it out. I think that's going to be a good length, mimic some of the herring out there next summer. And I just trim that so we got nice clean ends. I'm going to tie it a little long because the mono thread can be a little slippery. Wrap it and then tighten it up, and then I'm just going to pull that back through, and I'm going to redo that because it didn't quite sit. Pull that back through a little bit and then do some thread wraps over it. And now what's different, what I'm going to do today, is instead of tying it behind the hook there, I'm going to use the Clear Cure Goo to set that and try to create a little width on it. So I'm going to be using the thick. It gives me a little more time to work with it. So I've got that right there, and I'm just going to pull it back, pull the fibers back, and give it just a little squeeze. Start with just a little bit to start. And then I pull back on the syringe to suck it back in. And I grab my bodkin and I just start working this kind of down in towards the hook shank a little bit. We're going to cover up the eyes later, so I'm not worried so much about prettiness or anything at this point. And I'm going to use a little more Clear Cure here to fill it in. And you can see we're just working it, connecting it to that back half of the shank there. Pull all the fibers tight. And then once we kind of get the position we want, I am going to hit it with the light. And then give it 5 or 10 seconds. That Clear Cure is going to hold out that body and give that fly just a little more width in the water. So now that that's done, we are just going to turn it over. And I always like to tie my Clousers with a bit of a flash tail. I think that flash hanging behind is a nice attractor. So I've got some silver holographic Flashabou here. I'll take about 3 or 4 strands, maybe more. I don't get too picky on this. I've never found too much flash to be a huge issue out there. I usually wet it down just to work it. And so I'll start on one side of the fly, and you can see I run the flash about an inch or so past the end. And then I'm just going to wrap that there. And I run it back up the other side. And one, it's sort of a perfect length there. So we got the flash on both sides there. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the fluorescent chartreuse for our blend. And you don't need much. This is just going to be a easy wing on top of that. Once again, just kind of work the material, pull out what you don't want, kind of those real long tip ends. You can use a pair of scissors to trim that up. I usually will set it along the fly where I want to place it to get the measurement right, and then I'll quickly trim it. Set the rest aside for the next fly, and then I will once again move it a little forward, trap that mono with my fingers, come up and pull down. I can pull that hair back a little bit, trim off any excess we don't want, and then just make a few wraps. And we're good. I'm going to take a whip finisher and just finish that off real quick. And we're going to use that Clear Cure Goo, the thick again. But before we do that, I want to, we want to make sure the wing is situated right. So I usually pull that wing up, kind of center it, and then pull it back through. Everything's pulled back nicely. And then I'm going to use the prismatic pearl eyes. They're the 2.5 size. And these lead eyes have a nice flat end to them, so the eyes just stick perfectly on. I'm going to do the side towards me first. And then I'm just going to place the other eye on. Just like that. And we're using the thick. The thick is nice because it's a little thicker, so it gives you some time to react to it while you're working with it. So I usually start on one side, add a little bit over the eyes, and kind of wrap it over like that, come back down like that, and then so I just try to work this evenly, let it kind of move around so it envelopes the entire eye, locks in that chartreuse wing. Make sure the eyes get covered. Make sure it comes over and gets all the thread wraps at the head of the fly. Exactly how you want it. That's the nice thing about this. It doesn't set till you hit it with the light. I think we're looking pretty good right here. I'm just going to pull that chartreuse wing a little tighter, get those fibers locked in, and then hit it with the light. Locks all that in. And then we're going to use some hard as hulls and just coat the fly with that, and then that'll give it a nice clean hard finish when you're all done. sure I get everywhere. And there's a quick epoxy clouser using the Farrar blend that'll keep its shape a little better than if we tied it the standard way with the thread wraps behind the lead eyes. So perfect color combination for pretty much any saltwater fishery out there, but especially effective out for coho out in the Strait of Juan de Fuca and out in the Pacific Ocean off Nia Bay.